And tonight on Drag Racing Live, we're going to feature uh, Jim Danko of the Bustin Loose Wild Supercharged Alcohol 48 Fiat Topolino Altered. Jim joins us to talk about carrying on the tradition of the legendary altered racers, the challenge of controlling that short wheelbase hot rod, and the family and friends that keep this exciting part of drag racing going. So, Jim Danko, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you tonight. We're so excited to have you, and you got the Bustin' Loose right behind you. Man, it's looking
It's
pretty good.
it's right there. It's ready to got a brand new power plant in it for the in 2 weeks we're going out to Maple Grove and hopefully put some runs on the car and lower our best ETs.
Nice. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to do those new those drag list entries. Rob McCabe's got you in there this year, but we need to take those ETs and down and the speeds up.
Yeah, it's the whole name of the game.
Well, let's talk about the car. Let's get, when folks see Bustin' Loose fire up and roll towards the starting line, they know they're going to see something different. What is it about a blown altered that gets people so excited?
I think first off, like it's the whole nostalgic appearance of either a 23T Roadster or a 48 Fiat. So that kind of brings back the memories of the old days of racing when things weren't so computerized and everything was kind of being learned about. So a little more hectic, a little more drive by the seat of your pants, so to say, like on that part. And then you throw a blower into it and try and get all the horsepower down on a short wheelbase and like for us, we're running a power glide trans, so we have a converter that locks up, so it's a little more aggressive on the starting line than if we had a clutch or something, we could slip out there a little bit.
Mhm.
But there's nothing else like it. It's really not. It's close, like there are a couple of close things, but there's nothing like driving a blown alder.
You bet. It's everybody. People love them. So and a short wheelbase altered with a motor in front. It's a very different experience from a dragster or a funny car. I know you've run some rear engine dragsters. What's it feel like when you let go of that button and the Fiat leaves the starting line?
Again, with running a converter, it's very aggressive on the starting line. So when you let go of the button, it just sets you back and lets you know it wants to go. It picks the front end up, and at that point, you kind of just wait a second, see if the car wants to make a turn or if it's going to go straight for you. So you got to feel it out for a second, see if you're going to be making any corrections early on in the run. And once it sets the front wheels down and starts taking off and pulling through, make the shift, and at that point, you're reaching up for the parachutes and slowing everything down. But the starting line's like very aggressive on the car. We sub 1 second, 60 foots and everything with it.
Wow.
I think the best was like a nine, I want to say a 968 or something. It was down pretty low.
Wow, it's amazing. Well, you're super chopped anyway, so there's not a lot of room to see out the front. Plus, you got a big injector in front of you, and then you're putting the wheels up. So, what are you actually seeing at that point?
You kind of drive out of your peripherals a little bit there, like where the blower is right in front of you. Long as you can see the wall and the yellow line and, like stay in between them, you're all right. But you kind of get a feel for it, like sort of like riding a bicycle when you're up next to a curb and you can feel it's there and you're not staring at it. Just sort of the same feeling when you're in the car, but you can tell when you get outside the groove and the car starts sliding around pretty good when you have to lift and abort the run. But it's definitely exciting. It's a cool thing. Anybody involved with drag racing, they should all experience it at some point.
That's really great. What's the run you'll never forget? Did you have to go lock to lock on the thing several times?
There's, like when we were talking about that there and everything, I was thinking about the most exciting or difficult whatever runs we had. And this has been great. Like the car drives phenomenal. Precision chassis built the chassis. The car goes straight as an arrow. It's really good. The last two times out, the second to last run, we were at Island Dragway, and car got a little out of shape. I had to pedal it, and still went 182 miles an hour, I think it was, but we had no parachutes. They didn't want to come out. So a little bit of a exciting time slowing the car down and trying to make the turn because Island does have a short runoff. And then the run after that was when we hurt the motor, and that was unfortunate there. Kind of put us down for a couple weeks here, but we're ready to go back out. And that just shook a little bit and then just shut off, and we broke the crank and some other issues with the motor. So they were probably the most two excitement like lately that I can remember. But the no parachutes, that the end of the track comes up real quick when you don't put any chutes out.
That'll get your attention. Did you have to do some bouncing down there,
It
on the brakes?
it did. I got on the brakes very hard, and that's what happens. It loads the tires, and then when you let off of them to stop it, like not skid or anything like that, and at island you do hit a bounce there, and it. If anybody was down there taking photos, they would have had all four wheels off the ground because it was definitely bouncing on me down there, and I didn't want to put it outside the track, you know. So
Yeah.
we got stopped. I made the turn, and everything was all right.
Well, that's awesome. That's good. And I know, with the guys who were around there, if anybody got it, we would have seen them on Facebook already because these guys don't mess
I'm
around.
sure Steve's up there taking photos quite often and gets all the good shots like that usually.
He's the man. Gosh, it's funny. Some of these folks, you know him for 30, 40 years, maybe. I don't know. We go way back. The early English test. They're only the early O's. I'll go that far back at least. Maybe no,
Yeah,
the 80s. Man,
yeah.
it's crazy. Well,
That that
as a go ahead. Sorry, you were about to
no, I
say?
was just gonna say that's right. He was at English Town, and Dave Milcaric and him were partnered up over there. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, all those guys, that's artwork, man. Mel Carrick's
Hmm.
photos, Steve's photos, and artwork. One of the great artists. Those guys are amazing. But
Absolutely.
man, well, so we're not only just driving the car, but wherever you travel with it, Altereds kind of have a reputation for creating stories wherever they are.
Um,
What's the craziest thing that's ever happened, even off the track?
it's we were supposed to be down North Carolina, but unfortunately that event got canceled on us right before we traveled down there. We've been staying up in the Northeast with the car for the most part, as of now. I've taken my dragster and ran down to like Gainesville and Charlotte and everything like that. Some of the other events, and I pretty excited. Like I would like to try and put this in Top Dragster more because it's so many dragsters are out there and it's just like a cookie
Yeah,
cutter. I love the class, I love the competition, but it's still like so many dragsters out there, and I want to kind of mix it up a little bit with this, and it's going out there racing with Bob and everything is just a lot of fun, and it's become more like a family than it is like racing. You know, like it's
right.
just a really great weekend out whenever we go out.
Yeah, it is our family here, isn't it? I get to hang out with the Alky Funny Car Nostalgia guys. That's mostly who I sort of hang with, I guess. Some of the pro mods, but over the years. But it's great stuff. And I see a lot of you run with the Northeast uh dragsters, right? That like
Yeah, the
Jim,
Northeast
those guys.
Fuelers, yeah, or the
Right.
East Coast Fuelers.
Right.
Um, we run with those guys, and they Jim Cummings, like they're a great group of guys there also, and we won one of the events up there at Island Dragway. I think
Wow.
that was yeah, I think that was 2 years back now. Um, that was pretty exciting. That was pretty cool to do. It was a great outing and everything. That was one of the ones that I'll always remember from being in the car and standing in the winter circle with Bob and stuff like that. Was again, it's just because of the connection that we have and the friendship that's developed out of there. It's great.
Right. Yeah, man. Anytime you can take an altered and beat those deadly consistent dragsters, well, even though the front engine cars aren't quite as deadly consistent as the rear engine cars, but still saying something.
It is, yeah. It's a great time, and they do hook up easier, better, or whatever. They're easier to drive just because they're a little longer, but they're still a handful. There's nothing out there, like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's not easy to do any of them. Do you still have like some of your dragsters, or have you sold all that and just have the altered now?
No, Bob still owns the Alder, and I'm driving it for him. I still have my rear engine dragster, the red and gray one. I'm still, you know, not really running it as much now because I am focused more with the Fiat with Bob and getting this thing out. There's a lot more events to do with it, especially with all the mix up with NHRA and IHRA and how the
Yeah.
tracks had changed around and all. It was a good season, I think, for being in the Alder and going out and racing that. One thing I'm kind of looking forward to is my dad still has his Fiat, the yellow one, and
Okay.
he's going to be getting that back out hopefully this season, and I would love to line up next to him at some point just to do it before like it's that time passed.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so hoping that happens, probably next season at this point, just because we're so far into it this year. But that's one thing that I'm excited about, and hopefully I can get, make that happen with them.
That's exciting because we've got your dad's car. John, again, with a beautiful poster. He's got your dad's car on there. I have
Yeah.
called your dad's name in that car. I've seen that car run. Whether I was on the mic or just watching, I can't recall. But that's pretty cool. I mean,
We
that would be amazing to line you guys up.
It's the pretty cool thing is that with the quickest ET on his car is a 676, and the quickest ET we have on this is a 677. So you really won't come too much more match than that right now.
Yeah.
Like that it'd be really cool for us to get out there with each other. But he used to run an MIR a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe announce down there or something with them, and
Yeah. I'm pretty
you know,
confident that's where I've seen it because we've had that Bunny and the Burnouts for Bunny event the last couple of years. And I think that,
yes,
and we've had the Northeast Fuelers down. And I'm pretty sure that's where it was. I probably have photos of him from the pits.
yeah, that's he used to match race with Bob back in the day. And then, like here it is years later. I used to crew for my dad, and we were racing against Bob and everything. And now I'm with Bob, and I'm looking forward to racing against my dad. So hopefully that comes about.
That's amazing. So let's tell us a little bit about the team. So we got the Bustin Loose car. Tell us a little bit about the car's history. Obviously, Bob Hill, I think
Yeah,
owns it, but tell me about that.
Bob Hill owns it. He bought the original car in 2000, and that was a Fiat with an injected small block in it, the same body.
Hmm.
And then he ended up going up, trying to go faster, like all of us do, and ended up with a 468 cubic inch big block blown motor in it. And apparently, it was overpowering the chassis. He bent it up a little bit, did a big wheelie, and it kind of bent up the chassis a little bit, and had to look going into having a new chassis built. And
Got it.
that's when he reached out to Precision and had the current car built, the current chassis, used the same body, um, and mounted it on that new chassis, and that's what we're running here today.
Awesome.
Um, he got out of the seat, I want to say maybe 3 years ago now, and he came to me and asked me to if I'd make some runs for him, and I was honored again there, like absolutely, like just between Bob and Linda, just even thinking about me being driving and in control and responsible and all that stuff for their car was amazing in itself. Like I've met so many good people and given me so many great opportunities in the drag racing world that I can't say enough about them.
That's amazing. Well, it is great that you had that opportunity. And is it that same 468 that's in there?
We currently, well, the one that we just hurt was a 509. And that was built by Matt Stanball down at New Generation,
Uh-huh.
racing. And so now when that motor's out, this one going in here is a 540. And we're going to see if this, can help us go a little bit quicker or, what the changes are. And, but it should run basically about the same, right around there. The tune up in it and everything like that should be very similar.
Nice. And mid sixes at 200 plus will get the job done.
It will.
Yeah.
It will. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of fun, and it's all about like we have a great fan base right now. Also, there's a couple great, people out there, guys out there, kids out there. I love when the kids come up
Hmm.
and want to, sit in the car or see anything because that's the future of it. And I remember being in the kids' shoes. Like if there's anybody over there, I always try and tell the kids like, watch for me when we do the burnout. I'll wave to them or something when I'm backing up from the burnout or something like that, and it kind of brings the kids in a little bit and lets them kind of feel like they're like they're part of something. And I love letting them sit in the car and kind of explaining what all the levers are and switches and buttons and everything, and just so they get that experience that I remember having when I was a little kid climbing in somebody's car.
No, that's awesome. It's you got to do it. That's I remember in 75 I was a young teen, mid-teen, maybe 17, but my kid brother's about 12 and so we got to mess with the Sundance Monza if you remember that orange funny car and they
It,
they let him like polish it up. We thought we were the thing, man.
it is. You just a little bit of effort or a little bit of like politeness goes such a long way for these kids, and in the racing world, like you don't get around this stuff too often, and it's
Right.
the nostalgia races, especially like you can still get up next to the cars. It's not like it's all about the money and everything. It's still about putting on a show. Whether it be the long burnouts and we always try and do like a side by side burnout. Just back in the day, I remember like Jungle Jim, of course, because of being in the local area. Like he was a someone that I looked up to and always thought was really cool, and Frank Kramberger is another one,
Yeah.
at the Philadelphia Flyer. Like all those cars put on such a great show and an effort that it went away a long way. And that's what I remember today. And that's what I try and do whenever I do become part of a team or climb into a car or something like that. It's the whole goal of putting that show on,
That's awesome. Keeping the legacy going. Well,
trying.
what were your earliest, how did you get started? I mean, you mentioned your dad used to drive, and I guess that's how you got going, but tell us how you
Yeah,
got into it and tell us your progression from your first cars to the Bustin Loose machine.
but I definitely got into it because of my dad. I mean, I was at the racetrack when I was still in diapers on the back of his El Camino and stuff like that. Um, and then he went through having a 23T altered. It ran super comp for years back through the 80s and everything. And that's kind of what grew me to like the altereds, like
Mhm.
that type of thing. The car was I don't really remember the whole story, but I know something the steering box he had on it was wrong. And the car used to make like a wild turn and didn't always want to go straight. And that's where he got his nickname of Sideways Marty. So the car did not want to go straight. So that just kind of sparked my interest there and it went on and I always crewed for him. He maybe in my whole years of racing and being involved with it, he maybe went down the track like 3 or 4 times since I was, I don't know, like maybe 12 that I didn't put his seatbelts on him and help him pack
Mhm.
the parachutes and stuff like that. So I didn't go, he didn't go out without me like that. But I remember being a little kid. I know I didn't have my driver's license, but my dad and I would go to the racetrack and I would drive the tow vehicle. And I can remember Maple Grove and they'd wave us to get down the track to follow him down to tow him back. I can remember getting in his crew cab and putting that thing to the floor and driving it the whole way down and going through the finish line at like maybe like 62 miles an hour and thinking I was
Yeah.
like John Force going through there,
Well, that's
And
cranking because how old were you?
that's
I mean,
I didn't have my license yet. I remember that. So I was younger than 16. But
wow.
and I remember doing that, and that's what started it. And like I said, I had the opportunity from there. John Headley let me drive his alcohol funny car and start my licensing in that.
Yeah.
Bruce and Stu Horner let me make some runs in their alcohol dragster, which was they're probably some of the coolest guys I've ever met,
Yeah.
out there. Um, I friendly with Paul Weiss. I've been up like in his pit with the nitro car. That's a whole nother experience.
Right.
It's just like so many opportunities I've had there. And then, like I said, when Bob came to me and asked me about driving his car, it wasn't even a thought. I think I said yes before he was even done getting it out of his mouth. And I'm just honored that he would even like, trust me to get in there and do this stuff and believe in me to do it. Like it's great. Like I still don't, in my head, I'm still that little kid going up to somebody's pit, and I'm just as excited to whether it's wiping your car down after a run or adjusting the valves or whatever it is, and going out there and driving. I just love being part of it and being around it.
Well, that's what makes the magic. And when you're talking about the who's who up here. It's so cool to be, know all these guys for all these years. And when I was announcing at Budds Creek years ago, and it was an NHRA track originally, and then it became IHRA for a number of years, and then just recently went back. But we used to have the divisionals, right? So I
Hmm.
loved the alcohol cars. So of course I saw the Horners all the time. We had them here match racing as well, and one of the toughest Chevys in the world back in the day, and of course, Weiss, we've seen him from the early funny car nationals at Englishtown back in the day. And
Yeah.
Headley's been out there forever and a day. He was, saw him the other day at Budds Creek as him and Goldie and a couple other
Yep.
guys, Bobby Toth, where they're thrown together, they threw together an Alki funny car to try to get into the big NHRA show and did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah. They're doing great, and they're Goldie's another one's out there. Like, he's always at the racetrack, and he's another one that's just there, like always happy to be there and help you out any way that he can. And that's Mark Dyer. That's the funny car that John's driving now with
Yeah.
those guys. And I got the opportunity to drive that for a couple passes and everything. And it's was a great car. We made some quick runs and everything was really moving along good. It's they're a great group of guys. Everybody in the drag racing world really is something special.
Yeah, it's our family, right? We gotta, every weekend
It,
you grew up with them and man, so cool. Well, do you get a chance to work on the car at all? Do you strictly drive it or how's the breakdown go with the crew?
no, the crews, like Bob's crew, when I came in as the driver, I kind of came in as the driver, and that was my mindset of like I wasn't going to try and disrupt anything or try and make it's not what I was about. Like I was there to drive his car for him when, he wasn't able to get in the car, and it's so I went didn't want to disrupt anything. So I kind of learned like their way, and Randy's out there as like a crew guy that's been with Bob forever, Randy Weaver, and he's there's a couple guys. Mike Hall comes out with me quite often. Another great guy, and like
Yeah.
I just feel comfortable climbing in the car when those guys are around me outside because I know everybody's looking over and making sure the car's safe, making sure nothing was missed out there, and I'm not going to have any unforeseen, circumstances that out of my control. So it's always great having them. But yes, I do work on the car. I mean, we'll fill in whatever. Usually by the time we get back from the run, I climb out of the car, go to get out of the fire suit. By the time I come back out to the car after getting changed, like they serviced everything. So if there's anything left to do, I'll try and help out and do it. But Randy calls me the rock star all the time, so he gives me the time to go sit in front of the fan a minute and
Yeah.
sit that way. And they're a great group of guys though that we're running with.
Well, that's important. You got to get out there and talk to those fans. That's a huge part of it because oh my gosh, we've all been in it for so long, but we got to bring new folks in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, tell me, speaking of young folks, so for younger racers watching who might want to themselves move up or improve, what's the biggest lesson racing at Altered or your racing in general has taught you about preparation, patience, teamwork, or any other thoughts you have in that regard?
You kind of nailed it there. Where preparation is everything. If you're not prepared, you're going to go out there and have those little issues, and you're going to get discouraged very quickly, and it's just going to go backwards on you. And you can't have too much of an ego out there either. You can always learn. Like anybody that ever asked me about like any driving advice or anything when they're getting into a car, I always tell them a couple things. One is every single time you're in the car or whenever you're sitting in it, if you want to be the driver of that car or something, whenever you're sitting in it, try and learn something. If you're steering up the return road, some people get like all upset they're not going down the track making the passes and not being a driver. But I'm like, you're still in the car and you're there. Learn something about it. So when you are in that situation, you kind of know what to expect. I said whether it's turning the steering wheel, seeing how the car reacts to you, or pushing on the brakes, seeing where where it goes to where you're going to skid, where something's going to happen, like where you're
Mhm.
going to be. Can you reach everything? All the levers, the buttons. There's always something to see. Like if you lean your head to the side, can you see around the blower a little bit better? Like rather than not leaning, and it's there's always something to learn. I'm sure like whether you're John Force, Gartlett's, any of these guys, they're always learning and that's how they're doing it. And they'll be take everybody's advice in, figure out what works for yourself, but just, listen to what everybody's saying because most of these guys have been there and it has experience. Like you said, like Bruce and Stu Horner. I mean, they were awesome. Like I probably drive them crazy by asking so many questions. And I just think it's great. There's so much to learn from all these guys. And just being around it, pay attention to everything. And I think in order to be a good crew member, you should be a driver or at least driven the car because it helps you relate. And to be a good driver, you should be working on the car because then, when you come back, I'm not just saying, well, the car's doing this. I can kind of have an idea what angle to point to start. Let's looking into this. And I think that's a real big part of it is being a crew chief or being like a crew leader to where like and you learn these cars and how they're reacting to your adjustments. Like that's it, there's nothing more thrilling, I think, personally, than like when you go out and you make adjustments on the car and you go out there on the track and you see it pick up and go quicker and go faster. and you really see the payoff of it, and all the preparation, all the hours that nobody sees and nobody realizes. I'm in my shop now, and it's 8:30 at night, and you can ask my wife. Like, I almost live here. Like, it's a constant thing that you're always learning. There's something to do to be ready for the next time out and learn a little bit.
Right. So cool. Well, Jim, do you want to take a break here? We'll go to John and see who's out there on the chat line and what questions or comments they may have.
Absolutely, as long as they're all giving me easy questions.
That's okay, John. You got any softballs? Let's go.
Well, we're here from coast to coast tonight, and everybody's just delighted to have Jim with us. And you've got a lot of friends on the chat board tonight, Jim. Randy Johnston had some comments and some questions. He said, "Old school will always be the best. No computers." And then he came back later and he said, "No shoots and Mr. Toad's wild ride." And he said, "Does Jim run with Nitro Chaos altereds?" And uh, Rob McCabe answered him, and he said Jim usually runs with Gironi Racing, Joe Morrison when he's around, Bruce and Paula Peterson before they moved to Texas.
Well,
And
we don't even need Jim here. We got Rob and those guys answering the question, right? Do you feel you got a
right.
comment there,
And
Jim?
people know me better than I do. It's out there. No, that's absolutely right. And when we did hurt the motor, one thought that we did have, and one angle we've been talking a lot, is about going nitro racing. I don't know if that's too big of a leap yet to do or not. I don't want to get into something over our heads and just go throwing money away. But it would be, I would love to run with all those guys in the IHR and that nitro fuel altered class. Like, that would be a goal of mine. Like, that'd be a dream of mine come true, driving a nitro altered. Absolutely. But yeah, like Gironi and Joe Morris and all those guys, a great group of guys out there. And like I said, again, the East Coast Fuelers we run with quite often, and there's just so many good people there, so many great rivalries. I Before we went to nitro racing, Gironi's always had my number for some reason, and it's it's one of the things there is to put him on the trailer once or twice here before we give up with anything. But he's always just had my number for some reason. It seems like most of
Mm,
the times.
it's funny. Yeah, Mike's a great guy. And of course, did we get a scoop here? The New York Earth Shaker crew has moved to Texas. I guess that's what I heard. Is that the
Yeah,
biggest?
I don't remember when that was, but that I think they moved a couple years back, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I probably got it on the list thanks to Rob McCabe. So that's why we write it all down here, so I don't have to keep it in my old noggin anymore. But
It falls out of mine quicker than it used to now.
awesome. John, who else is out there, sir?
Well, I tell you, man, they're coming in so fast, it's hard to keep up with all of it. Randy asked what percentage of nitro you run, Jim, and I think you just answered that. So Anthony Argent said, "You're looking good, Jimmy." And Mike Gironi is with us. He said, "Hey, gang. Hey, Jimmy, say nice things about me. Love you, buddy."
I think he
I
already
said it.
did.
He's always beating up on me.
He said, "I was alongside of Jim when his shoots were late." He said, "I followed him off the turnoff and made sure he was okay."
Oh,
Is
cool.
that Yeah, we were up there with Troy Levy was in the around or another lane when we did that up there at Island a couple weeks back.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, the car was bouncing pretty good down there. It's like riding a Rommable for a minute, like you're up there bouncing around and pulling the brakes and trying to stop. It gets, you don't realize it when you're in the moment, but after the fact, then you think, man, I just did that. Like, that just happened. Like, all right.
Where's Steve Evans, man? I hope you got that on film somewhere. Troy, another good guy. Say Troy, if he's on.
He
a,
added,
a great,
he said, "We've been match racing a few years now and really developed some good chemistry with Jim at the helm, so it's always a fun time racing each other."
Awesome.
it definitely is.
Rob McCabe is with us, and he said, "I remember first seeing the Danko altered at Englishtown in the early 2010s. He said, especially the 2012 Night of Thrills as part of the pro comp group with the Nostalgia Funny Cars. He said Peroni and Sano especially were there. And he said Steve, Dave, and John McCarty, the RP photo folks, but it was great chatting with Jimmy last year at Island for Island's anniversary event.
Cool. Was your dad's
Uh,
car though back in that day?
uh,
Was that the yellow one?
it was absolutely, and that if I'm not mistaken, we match raced Bob Toth in Roxy Roxalow's time bomb funny
Time
car
bomb.
at the time in my dad's car, and my dad's always been known for doing pretty long smoky burnouts and everything like that, and I think in front of us was Dwayne Beers in his Prowler altered, and he did a big burnout, and then my dad came up, and I remember the announcer said something like, "That's how you do a burnout, Dwayne." You know, like once my dad did his. But yes, that was my dad driving the car at that moment.
Awesome.
Well, let's see. Steve, I just said that. So Greg said Cecil County and ex-Atco racer, not much racing talk on a Monday night, so this is good.
I'm glad to have you with us, brother.
Yeah, it's great that you're with us, Greg. And then there's a lot of conversations between people. As he says, Jim Cummings is here with us, and he said Jim beat Charlie Benson one time.
That's that was up at Island Dragway when we went into the winner's circle, and I don't want to point any fingers, but I was threatening to get punched in the mouth if we didn't beat him. Like, so.
Well, hey, Jimmy, good to have you with us tonight. The other Jimmy Cummings.
Yeah,
Really good.
Jim's a great guy. He's a great guy, and he runs a great organization there over at the East Coast Fuelers. They put on a great show at every event that we've been at.
Sure
And Dale
does.
Broderick just showed up, and he said he's going to be Geezers at the Grove in 2 weeks.
Dale?
Make sure to stop by and say hello to us. Anybody that stops over to Geezers, any fans or anything like that, stop by and say hello.
Yeah. Do you know Dale? He's got the little candy apple red A-Comp coupe that he run, little small black Chevy chromed up. It's nice. Dale and Lisa.
I don't think I do know him. I'll have to look him up and like keep my eyes open for him and everything then.
Yeah, you guys will get along great. He's awesome. Good to see you, Dale. Anybody else with a question, John? Highly technical. No gotchas. What's going on?
Yeah, everybody's just having conversations with each other. We had Ford versus GM versus Mopar going on, and Rich Panicaro says he respects all brands, which is really nice.
You bet.
You know, he raced GM for several years, and then he just got a Barracuda that he's driving. It's a street machine. It's beautiful. So, let's see, and Rob said he has the video. He said I could pull it off my disc, so I'm not sure what exactly he was referring to there.
Well, it might have been that final round that you had, Risa, because I know Rob was up there. Well, send it to us, buddy. We'll publish it.
Well, Rich asked if the Fiat that you have is Frank Schuster's old Fiat.
It's very similar to it, but no, it is not. Frank's a great guy. His Fiat was awesome. It was white with flames on it, but no, it's not the same car. It's a different. I don't know where Frank's car ended up going to. But no, this is a whole brand new car built from precision with for Bob Hill, and it's been his since it was done.
Awesome. I announced that car way back in the day too. You know,
Frank Schuster's.
Aging myself, yeah, and the bucket of Carol Hine and gosh, all those guys. But
Carol Jr. is the guy that builds my motors and everything. And every time I see him, I talk to him. And his dad, senior, still thinks he's going to get back into the car, and he's still like the same guy that he always was.
He wasn't no teenager when I announced him, and that was 20 years ago.
I have the picture of him back there on the wall with doing the fire burnout down at the bottom of Maple Grove.
I swear to God, it's on my office wall right over here. Yeah.
That's funny. That's same thing here. That's great.
Tying together the generations. Well, thank you, John.
Oh yeah, Jim Cummings said this is better than watching soccer.
And if Jim notices, I do have the banner hanging right there as well
There
for the
you
East
go.
Coast
That's right.
Fuelers.
Looking
So
good.
we're
And
we're
yellow.
supporting with them as even out here today.
Now, Greg just had a couple of questions. He asked any engine combo info if willing to tell, and the transmission type.
We've run a Power Glide, two-speed Power Glide in this car, and this one's built by Ken Moses for Moses Racing Transmissions. Um, Great guy. If anybody's ever looking for anything, no matter what your horsepower is, he can definitely take care of it. And I love the fact with just to reiterate on that, I run Top Dragster, and Ken drives Top Dragster as well. If he's a guy that's out there is going to build a transmission for me and then go out there and possibly stage next to me, and it's just that's another one of those, like, just shows you the type of person that you're out there working with and dealing with and everything. He's a great guy, and he's going to do his best work. And whether I beat him, he beats me, whatever it is. It's just, like, he's doing the best job, and it's but he does. So it's a Power Glide two-speed transmission. The previous motor, the 509, that was built by Matt Stamball, and that was a killer motor. It just was really strong and ran great. And now this one here was one that was built by Carol Hines Senior. I'm sorry, Junior. And we're looking forward to. He's always done my motors, and I believe he's retiring this year. So I'll be, probably going to Matt to build motors from here out. From that, because he's another, great guy, and see him at the racetrack and everything. And I just like that connection when you go. But this here's a 540 with a 871 retro high helix blower on it.
Awesome. Cool stuff. All right, well,
Anthony Argent asked, "What's the worst engine failure that you have had in drag racing?"
Probably this one that we just had, but before that, in my top dragster, I lost a motor at ATCO one time, and that came apart about 800 feet, or right around that 800-foot mark on the track, and it broke the cam, and the cam fell down through the motor and just, like, wiped the motor out. I had holes through the side of the motor. We were pulling pieces of the rods out and the cam out from the oil pan, and it sounded like a tractor trailer going down the turnpike and hitting the Jake brake, and it just got so loud and rambling, banging around, and metal flying around. I pulled off the track and looked at it, and my dad came down in the golf cart to pick me up, and he yelled at me. He said, "Why'd you let off? That you had that guy covered?" I said, I didn't let off. I said, "Look at the side of the motor." And he looked down and said a couple choice words, and then it was over.
it
But
was
the
fate.
first reaction was, "Why'd you let off? You had him covered."
Yeah,
Well, we're
dads.
caught up for the moment, y'all. So
Well, thank
go
you,
ahead.
John.
Yeah,
And
thank
thanks to
you.
everybody on the
Thank you,
chat.
everybody that wrote in.
Great and talk to our pals out here. Well, let's talk. Speaking of folks that take care of us before we wrap here, I got a couple more questions. Who would you like to recognize tonight to kind of do some shout outs? Bob Hill, the cruise
We
sponsors, Family Tracks.
we
Who
we
else?
could go on all night with these things. Like I said, I had a lot of great people help us out and everything. But absolutely, Bob and Linda Hill, for them, like, giving me this opportunity, and and trusting in me to pilot their car and go out there and put on a show for them in their name. And it's that's came into such a family relationship type thing. It's great. Like, I love going to the track with them. Randy and Patty Weaver, they go out with us all the time in crew, and I can't start any of this stuff without my wife, Michelle, and my kids. Like, they've go out to the track and support me and everything. My wife lets me sneak away and get to the racetrack, whether it be to Gainesville or Charlotte or just to Beaver Springs on Saturday, like any of that stuff. We just sneak away a little bit and do it quite often. All the hours I put in at the shop. My dad for getting me involved with it, and in the first place. Mac, Ken, Mike, they're all great guys. Dan, Mike Hall, Gail Hall, like, they come out all the time and support me, and I try and go out and support him as well. It's a great family. We match race with them back in the day as well. Um, and then, like Jack and Ann Shane Line, they come out quite often and help us a lot. Like, great people and everything. But as far as like support we get from companies out there is Mr. Race Oil, great product. Tim Miranda and Jerry Peterson, like they're great guys to deal with. They'll really go out of their way to make you comfortable with using their products, and they offer a great product. Everything looks great coming out of there. Ken Moses at Moses Racing Transmissions, he's always helping me out. Every time I break something, I call him up and, Ken, what did I do wrong? Like it's just one of those things. Larry Santucci from Lethal Deals, one of the best speed shops I've ever been at, and down in Warwick, Warminster area, Pennsylvania. They carries everything that you'd ever want or need for a hot rod or your street rod or any of that stuff. The East Coast Fuelers, Jim Cummings, all the competitors there. That's a great organization out there to run with and find these events and set it up for us and do all the legwork for us to go out and have some fun. And Steve Bell at Bell Signs and 1320 Trackside. He did our hero cards for us. He does phenomenal work and everything. So it's always a great time.
It's fantastic. You
Great
got the
group of people
goods,
out there.
as
It
as,
is.
as they say up at Englishtown and elsewhere. You got the goods. I mean, you got the Steve Bell stuff. That's
It is. He's a great guy too. He's always there, and there's always grabbing that shot, like a picture or something a little unique, a little different, and he's just it's one of the things you look forward to. I can't imagine the pressure that he has on him to get that shot for everybody out there. Because I'm one guy out of however many hundreds are at the track or thousands are at the track that day. So, and we're all doing the
yeah.
same thing to him.
We love our photographers. They're fantastic. And and they treat us so well because they share all this work with us. They know we're trying to record this stuff, and they take great care of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, folks, are rather not folks, but for the folks, where can they follow along with Danko Racing? Where can they see Bustin Loose? I guess you said you're coming up at Geezers at the Grove, right?
Yes, we'll be at the Geezers. We have for the rest of this year, we're going to be at the Geezers at the Grove on July 18th. We're going to also probably run the Super Chevy event there to July 24th to 26th, just to get out there and get more runs on the car and just have a little more fun. Island Dragway August 2nd, Beaver Springs August 7th, and then we're going to be doing the Dover Reunion, Lebanon Valley this year, hopefully. And
Nice.
hopefully we'll finish everything off or whatever. We'll make the Dutch Classics at Maple Grove. That's always a great late in the season event.
Yeah.
Um, and if Jim puts anything else together for us with the East Coast Fuelers that we could get into, like we'll hopefully add a couple events. I mean, people can find us on Facebook, and if any fans stop by the track, please stop by and say hello. Like we love our fan base, at least. Like I mean, it's everybody out there in drag racing is awesome, but the fans that come to follow us and kind of come over and talk to us are always like so great to hear something from them and let them know that they're looking. I'm still amazed that anybody even cares about what I'm doing out there, and it's just awesome. It's just great to see the people out there doing it.
Well, you're busting loose for the rest of us. When we can't do it on our own, you can do it for us. So that was another question I had. So Facebook is where folks can follow you online, right? Just by your name.
Yeah. Facebook's kind of I'm at that age where I'm too old to learn the newer stuff, and I'm too young to not be involved with it. So it's Facebook's about as far as I can go to it. I try and talk my daughter into taking care of a lot of that stuff for me, but it's hard because I have an idea in my head. I just don't know how to get it out onto some of these platforms, like that's
It's
out there.
tell me about it, brother. It takes a village. I'm gonna
You
we
you
got
guys are doing all right. If you didn't set everything up here tonight, I couldn't have found you, like getting out there.
well, we're it's a worldwide volunteer army, of course. John and Kay and Rob and a couple of interns and Uriel now and oh my gosh, they're amazing. They're getting stuff done for us. But anyway, we're so glad to have you on tonight. Any final thoughts for the fans or
Um,
any
just
greetings?
look, just looking forward to seeing everybody out there, and hopefully, they can come out and, like I said, we love the fans. We love if you ever want to sit in the car and see what it's like stop by and let them let me know. Remind me that I said you could sit in the car, and we'll get you in it and see what it is. And like some of those people, we even try and do a fire up with them in the car and see what it's like to sit in that with it running and everything. It's not quite the same experience with the seatbelts on and the helmet and the gloves and the suit and everything locked down where you can't move, but it's still a really cool experience that you get to see. And, we want people to experience that as much as possible.
Very cool. Jim Danko, thanks so much for visiting with us tonight. Had a blast talking with you, man, and with all of our pals and your pals online. It's like
Yeah,
being
thank you very much. And thanks for putting this platform together and for you guys doing this, taking your time and efforts out to doing it. It's great for the drag racing world. It's great for, the opportunity for me to come on here and talk with you about racing and all like a passion that I have. But it's great for us to have somewhere to go and to listen to these interviews and learn something about all the teams out there and everything going on. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Danko, busting loose with that new 540-inch motor and ready to go mid-sixes to 200, coming to your local racetrack soon. Adios, sir. Have a great rest of the year. We'll see you down the road.
Thank you. Have a good one. Take care. Thank you.
Bye. All right, let's say farewell to Jim. That was fantastic. And with that, let's turn it over to my partner, John Bockelman, for this week's JB's Take and the Racer of the Week. Take it away, John.
Thanks, BP. I'm going to deliver this story in first-person context. My name is Matt Bull, and I'm from Streamwood, Illinois. I drive a 1963 Chevy Nova hardtop known as the Short Fuse, and I've been racing with the Brew City Gassers for the last 3 years. By trade, I deliver beer for a living, which it just so happens to fund my racing addiction. Like a lot of racers, I'm just a blue-collar guy trying to go a little faster every year. Cars have been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Growing up, my dad always had some kind of muscle car around, and that's where my love for hot rods and drag racing started. I also owned a 1973 Plymouth Satellite, which was my first muscle car. Long before the Nova, I was building a 1926 Ford sedan. Unfortunately, after taking a few hard lessons and some financial hits on that project, I decided it was time to move on. The funny thing is, I never actually found the Nova. The Nova found me. While I was looking for another project, a guy about an hour away reached out to me about a 1963 Nova roller that he was selling. He had been building the car with his dad before his father passed away, and he wanted to see the car continue on and help keep nostalgia racing alive with younger racers. At the time, I had no idea where that message would lead. When I bought the car, the goal was simple. I wanted a cool street car that I could take to a few races every year and enjoy with family and friends. I never imagined it would eventually become a dedicated race car, and I definitely never thought it would become a 9-second stick shift car. The car started out with a pump gas 468 big block Chevy and a Muncie 4-speed. During my first season, we ran a best of 13:53 at 94 miles per hour and managed to break the transmission along the way. The next few years were filled with upgrades, broken parts, engine failures, late nights in the garage, and a lot of learning. Like most grassroots racers, none of it happened alone. Friends were always willing to lend a hand, offer advice, help load the trailer, or stay late in the garage when something needed to get done before race day. The racing community has been a huge part of this journey, and I'm grateful for the people who have helped keep the car moving forward. The Nova has now gone through 3 engines and 3 transmissions. Every time we reached a goal, a new one seemed to appear. We stepped up to a 447 big block combination, then back to another 468, and eventually installed a G-Force 101A 4-speed. Last season, the car ran a best of 1026 at 129 miles an hour. And for most people, that would have been enough, but for me, not so much. Some of my racing buddies joke that the car shouldn't be called Short Fuse anymore. They think it should be called Never Satisfied, and honestly, they might be right. No matter how good a weekend goes, I'm always looking at what we can improve. We can run a personal best, accomplish a goal we've been chasing for years, and by the time we're loading the car into the trailer, I'm already thinking about what needs to be better next time. This past winter, I built a 496 cubic inch big block Chevy and paired it with the G-Force transmission. On the very first pass of the season, the car shocked us all by running a 943 at 142 miles per hour. After all the years of work, broken parts, and setbacks, seeing that time slip was one of the most rewarding moments I've ever had in racing. People always ask me why I still race a stick shift car when automatics are faster and easier. And my answer is simple. Every gasser should have 3 pedals. There's just something special about grabbing gears and being fully involved in every pass down the racetrack. One thing people always ask about is the car's name, Short Fuse. The name actually came from my dad, and one day I got worked up over something that really wasn't that big of a deal. And my dad looked at me and said, "Matt, you've got a short fuse." I laughed and said, "That's it. That's the name of the car." Well, the name stuck, and it's been Short Fuse ever since. What's funny is that nowadays some of my fellow racers think the name should be changed to Never Satisfied. But the truth is, they probably have a point. One thing I've learned through all of this is that racing really isn't about the cars. The cars are what bring us together, but it's the people that keep us coming back. Some of my favorite memories aren't even from behind the wheel. They're from sitting in the pits after a long day of racing, helping friends work on their cars, making road trips to races, and spending time with family and friends. Those are the things I'll remember long after I've forgotten what the scoreboard said that weekend. The Brew City Gassers started out as a group of racers I looked up to, but over the years they've become family. The friendships I've made through racing are some of the best friendships I've ever had, and the people I've met along the way have had just as much of an impact on me as racing itself. My dad and my nephews, Brandon and Dylan, travel with me to the races and have been a huge part of this journey. Racing may look like an individual sport from the outside, but anybody who's been involved in it knows that that's not true. It takes a lot of people helping behind the scenes to make a race car successful. One of the things I'm most excited about moving forward isn't even related to making the Nova faster. It's helping get my dad back on the track with his 1965 Dodge Dart, powered by a 512 cubic inch big block Mopar. And being able to watch him race again and enjoy the sport that helped shape my love of cars would mean as much to me as any personal accomplishment I've had with the Nova. If you would have told me 5 years ago that I'd own a 9-second stick shift Nova, I wouldn't have believed you. But you would have told me about all the friendships, memories, and experiences I'd gain along the way, I probably wouldn't have believed that either. At the end of the day, the car is just part of the story. The people are what make it special. The story ends there for now, but the journey with Short Fuse is still going strong. Every season brings new challenges, new goals, and new memories. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that no matter how fast the car gets, I'll probably still be looking for a little more. Well, Matt, thank you for this great information. The Short Fuse is an awesome hot rod. And I'm looking forward to your dad's Dart getting running again, too, so that I can feature him as a Racer of the Week as soon as it's ready. We wish you good luck, safe racing, and the best of times in the future. Everybody stay safe and well. You are the most important part of this show, and we love you all. It's a great way to spend an hour together on a Monday night. I hope we all had a safe and happy 4th of July, and we'll see you all next week. God bless America. Back to you, BP.
Thank you, John. Wow, what a great family and a great racer of the week. Thanks for that, and great to hear about him. And I want to add my wishes as well. Hope you had a great 4th of July. Happy 250th birthday, America. Lots of fireworks down this way. A couple miles north of me, I understand they set a record, but it was awfully late. Just like my neighbors like to fire off the fireworks all night long, but that's okay. It's only a few times a year. Um, other cool things happen. The Drag Racing Live YouTube channel just surpassed 176,000 views and 818 subscribers. So 182 more to go to hit 1,000, our first big goal. So help us grow. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and tell your friends to come back and see us. Let's talk about upcoming guests. 2 more to go for the rest of July before we take a brief break for a couple of weeks. And next Monday night, David Kennedy of the NHRA. You've heard of them. David's going to join us and talk about this great 75th anniversary year and all kinds of cool stuff. Looking forward to talking to David. And then on July 20th, Eiley Stafford, who's out there running that screaming yellow Camaro nostalgia funny car and doing just a great job. Eiley returns to the show, and we're really looking forward to that. And then Miss K is working hard. After that, our next show is going to be August 17th. So I have been working super hard with Jeffrey and Uriel. And Jeffrey's actually is doing the complete end-to-end shorts for me now. After we do a show, Jeffrey jumps in, Jeffrey Cormier, and he creates all the shorts. He is scheduling shorts weeks out, 2 a day. One at midnight Eastern time, one at noon Eastern time. And we're already well through the middle of August, and then even into November for some of our guests, because we're mixing it up. And so once we do like a week of our guests, for instance, Jim tonight, we'll do Jim tonight for the main thing. Starting Wednesday, we'll start filling out the rest of this week with Jim's shorts, at least one per day. And then the following week, we'll do a few more. And then after that, he'll jump into the rotation one per week. So we've got Ida Zetterstrom. You just saw one pop today. Ida Zetterstrom, we had so much good stuff for her. She's going through the end of August, and all of our other great guests as well. So we're going to have those cool little shorts or clips or reels, whatever you want to call them, going all through the end of the year. We've got some folks into November already. So that's Jeffrey taking care of business, and then Uriel Yamashiro, my buddy, he is currently taking some of the shorts that we haven't done from like the recent past, and he's putting them up on Facebook, because we had a small minor issue where some of our shorts weren't making it to Facebook for the last couple of weeks, and he's doing that. So you saw a lot of good stuff today and yesterday and over the weekend, and he's going to keep that going. So man, our interns are rocking along with the rest of the super crew. But yeah, I'm very happy with the growth of the channel, and glad you're here along with us. So let us go on to the sadder part of our show, but we're so proud to remember these folks. Going back to, this is our Lost Friends segment. So June 20th, we lost Larry Ormsby, known as the Big O. Larry was a Top Fuel legend from Australia. He was a true drag racing pioneer. From his early Ford Falcon, he became the national Top Fuel champion for Australia and one of the sport's most respected ambassadors. So farewell to Larry Ormsby, a true legend in Australia drag racing. On June 29th, closer to home here, but we know this family very well, Frank Pettinato passed away. He developed an early passion for drag racing, nitro-burning cars, and was well known in the racing world with his partner John Morey for the Rat Poison Fuel Altered, which won many national races. Rat Poison continues today, of course, with his son Dan Pettinato as the driver and his grandson Robbie Pettinato as the crew chief. And of course, I'm pretty confident Jim knows those guys, as do everybody else here on the East Coast. So really sorry to hear that, but farewell to Frank Pettinato, one of the great fuel altered pioneers from the East Coast with that great Rat Poison car. On July 2nd, we lost Ed Quay. Ed was a chassis builder, racing manufacturer, and deep thinker, plus a racer himself. He was posting on Facebook right up until the day before he passed This last couple of years, Ed had been putting up huge posts talking about life, talking about politics often, and talking about how to put together race cars and make them go fast. So farewell to Ed Coy. That was really a surprise in terms of how recently we were just reading content from Ed just this last week. But farewell to Ed Coy. Also on July 2nd, we lost Bob Arnold. Bob was a super stock racer known for his big Chevy wagons. He would super stock Chevy Nomads, and he also ran some other interesting cars which look like Hudsons. I may be wrong, but Bob, one of our real veteran racers, farewell to Bob. And on July 3rd, we lost Merle Eschman. Merle's one of the most prolific builders and racers from the Pittsburgh area. He did it all. Super stock and stock eliminator were his specialties. So farewell to these great racers. Condolences to the family and friends, and thanks for the thrills over the years, guys. Our sad duty, but we did always want to remember them and just say a couple words about the impact you've had. With that, John, I'll turn it over to you for your final thoughts.
Well, I really enjoyed this interview with Jim Danko. He's just a totally great guy, and he was so informative and open about everything that he's done. We have a lot of people here on the chat board tonight that have raced with Jim, and he is a highly respected and popular guy in the racing community. So it was a great call getting him on the show, and I look forward to finding more out about him in the future. I believe we're friends on Facebook now, so it's all good.
Yeah, we got his Facebook address now. It's all over for him. We'll chase him down. But well, thank you, John. And let's go ahead and do our final wrap. We do want to thank Jim Danko, who was awesome, thanks to his lovely wife, who got us all set up. She's the first pretty picture we saw on our cameras here as she was setting them up in the garage there. Thanks to John Bachman, my brother, for everything. Kate Turkelson, Sophia Roveda, and Jeffrey Cormier and Uriel Yamashiro, the triple threat, our fantastic interns doing such a great job. Thanks to Pete Moriello, Rob McCabe getting her done, David Oakes, man, Rob McCabe with new entries every day. You need to go, I need to put a link right on the front page so it's very obvious the latest and greatest drag list entries. We try to do that, but Rob's working hard every day filling out the drag racing lists. I want to thank David Oakes for the fantastic photos. Also, Bill Kloss, lots of great photos from those two gentlemen from the last big IHRA event and more to come. Thanks to Mel Bashore, Ron Toombs for fixing up the old entries, John Mernon II adding those fantastic photos to all of our old entries as well. Thanks to Dave Weslowski and Jeff Gilder for getting us started back in the day. Shout out to Nitro Alley, who was sporting her red, white, and blue for the July 4th. And thanks in heaven to Danny White, the big man himself. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff, folks. Let folks know that we're out here. And if nothing else, to get some folks on the chat line so we can keep all that interpersonal relationships going there, talking to John. You can check in on draglist.com every single day to see what's new. And you can find us on the Radio Bob Network, which showcases our shows. And finally, I'll say farewell for the week. Next Monday night, July 13th, David Kennedy of the National Hot Rod Association will be joining us. Until then, have an awesome, awesome week. And we will see you then. Try to stay cool. It's awfully hot out there. See you later. Bye-bye.